The Center of Universal Light is a unique interspiritual community in which we celebrate life, Mother Earth, and spirituality through a rich diversity of ancient and contemporary wisdom, practices, and traditions. Through music, message, and mantra, we combine old and new ideas to reach practical teachings that encourages everyone to follow their own spiritual path. So, like I said, I will be talking about that a little bit later.
The word for today is let go and let God. I make an active choice to let go and let God. To someone unfamiliar with the phrase let go and let God, the words may seem to be a popular slogan used with a shrug of inevitability. It's out of my hands, or I'm resigned to the inevitable. In truth, let go, let God describes an active choice that is always mine to make. I let go of all attempts to make choices based solely on input from my ego's mind's sense of personal obligation. It simply isn't true that I must personally find the answer to every question. I let God by choosing instead to trust the indwelling presence that is my true identity, opening my heart to love-centered guidance and quiet power. And from Philippians 4:6, do not worry about anything, but in prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. The word for today is let go and let God.
Thank you, Nanda.
Earth prayers. Within the circles of our lives, we dance the circles of the years, the circles of the seasons, within the circles of the years, the cycles of the moon, within the circles of the seasons, the circles of our reasons, within the cycles of the moon. Again we come and go, change, changing, hands join, unjoin in love and fear, grief and joy. The circles turn, each giving into each, into all. Only music keeps us here, each by all the others held, and the hands, hold of hands and eyes. We turn the pairs that joining each to all again. And then we turn aside alone, out of the sunlight gone, into the darker circles of return. Wendell Berry.
Thank you so much, Barry.
You're welcome.
That was beautiful. So the first big announcement is that we got our 501c3 back from the government. Yay! On the matter of donations, we're going to start keeping a basket in the back, because sometimes we go through the blessing bag, and Cookie is showing you where that is. It's a lovely basket. Sometimes we go through the blessing bags a little quickly, and people don't have time to fish in their pocket or their purse to get their check out or whatever. And then, if you feel so inspired at the end of that, we would love you to drop a little something in the basket. We just want to give you every opportunity to share your gifts. Let's see, this Thursday is our first Compassionate Communications workshop. This is a companion or an extension of the Circle of Connection group that we've started, because the Circle of Connection core group is going to be founded on communication. And so we want to develop our communication skills as community members in a, not that this has been a problem, but in a nonviolent way. This is compassionate communication, is also called nonviolent communication. It's based on the works of Marshall Rosenberg. Fabulous author, fabulous program. and very significant foundation for the work we're going to be doing. So if you want to continue coming to the Circle of Connection, we'd really appreciate if you would consider coming to this free workshop with Scott and Lisa, who are coming up, who are trainers in this, and they're friends of ours, and you're going to get to know them really well. So we hope you'll come back to that, and that's Thursday the 8th. Usually we have things on Wednesday, but anyways, Thursday right here. Thursday right here, and it's in your announcements in your program as well. So, Wednesday the 14th is our next Circle of Connection. I know it's Valentine's Day. I know it's Valentine's Day, but Arvel was insistent that we do this and we can share our love together on Valentine's Day. Chocolate is not required, but okay, it is requested, okay? I'm requesting it right now, and I like dark chocolate. So our Circle of Communication about all types of relationships, commitment, honesty. It's a gathering of men and women, couples or singles, learning to stay together in community. We love each other as family, but sometimes families don't know how to communicate. So this is why we are beginning this next week with this communications, compassionate communications workshop. Then on Saturday, February 24th, is our next sister circle. And I think we haven't decided where to have it yet, because it could get a little messy. We've got, the title is going to be called Mardi Gras Expressions. So all the sisters are going to get masks. They're eco-friendly paper mache masks, so that we can decorate them, paint them, and create that person visually that we see for 2018 and beyond. So just check with me and just keep an eye out on the website, on Facebook, on Meetup. Call your neighbor, find out where it's going to be, but we'll let you know. By next weekend we'll for sure have a spot. I just don't want to do it over here in Studio B because they have a beautiful dance floor. And it gets a little wild at those sister circles. I don't know if you've ever, well, of course the guys wouldn't know, and you know what goes on in Sister Circle. Thank you, that's right. So I'm just saying it gets a little wild. Wednesday the 28th is our next Health Rhythms drum program. Studio B, Joe and Lindy will be doing healing, focus, team building, and fun. No musical experience needed. Drum shakers and rattles will be provided, so bring your own. Veterans are encouraged. It's great for vets. And as we continue on, this will become more evident on how the program is actually run. So call Joe. I think all that information's in your bulletin. Call Joe, call Lindy, and they'll be happy to tell you a little bit more about it. Oh gosh, let's see. Next Friday, we have new artwork coming up. Is that right, Wendy?
On the 9th, yes.
That's right. On the 9th, we have new artwork going to be coming up here. Wendy is a curator of all this art. So I hope you take a moment we've got the winter theme here, and now we've got the love theme coming next Friday, or this coming Friday. So be sure to check that out when you come in and just make note of the wonderful artists that we have in this community. And this is only just a small sampling. We have some brilliant, brilliant, talented people here. I think that's all the announcements. Anybody else got anything that I need to... This is our community, so if you got something, speak up. Oh, we are going to have a basket making event next Saturday, this coming Saturday on the 10th, and there's information back on the table, or it'll be outside. There's a little flyer for it. Mavis is a fabulous basket maker, and these are just, it's not basket weaving, you know, like in the 60s, your mom went away for a couple of months and learned basket weaving. It's not like that. It's actually beautiful prayer baskets.
Yes, harms to connect with spirit, connect in our hearts and connect with spirit. Just taking a deep breath. Everybody get settled in your seats and taking a nice, long, deep breath. And allowing your thoughts to settle down and sink down into your heart space. The space of the heart, the space of compassion, the space of connection, and the space of peace.
Who are you? Have you really thought about that? Has anybody really thought that deeply about that? Who are you? I really never did until just a few years ago. I went to a workshop that was kind of like talking about your identity, your self-esteem, your, all the stuff that you don't think about when you're in your 20s and 30s and you're raising kids and you're trying to make a living and creating your life then. And so as the facilitator came around, I was the first one, and she said, "So who are you?" I said, "Well, I'm married to Arvel Bird, an international award-winning musician." And she said, yeah, that's nice. Okay, but who are you? So I tried it again. I said, "Well, I'm a booking agent for Arvel Bird, that's an international award-winning musician." And, "No, yeah, I get that, but who are you?" And after about the 5th try, I said, "I don't know anymore." And I said, "I used to be a fun-loving, full of spirit girl, just wanted to play tennis the rest of my life and create a beautiful, adventuresome life with Arvel. With any, just for myself. I just wanted a beautiful, adventurous life. I'm a very adventure-seeking person. I'm a Sagittarius with a Leo rising. It's a double fire sign, any way you put it. And that's my life. This is why I keep my red hair. I asked my hairdresser, "Do you think you could help me go natural, which would be, all right, let's just say it, gray." So, and she said, "Well, when you close your eyes, what do you see yourself as?" I said, "Redhead." She said, "You're not ready." So, anyway, I'm double fire sign. I get really fired up about things. I have a lot of passion about a lot of things. And I just did, she told me, "Now we're getting somewhere, and you've just been telling yourself the wrong story." She said, "You are the same person you always were. You're just telling yourself the wrong story. You've developed a story over the years that you have failed at something, or failed at many things. Most people feel that way about life. By this time I had failed at 3 marriages. This is the way I felt. I failed at 3 marriages. I screwed up this is, again, the way I felt at the time. I had screwed up my life by getting pregnant at 15, and then again at 17. Like I said, I had a lot of fire. And I just felt like a failure. I left the military after 8 years. 12 more years I could have retired. But that wasn't me. So that was the story I created for myself. And that was the one I lived over and over again. It did not serve me except to keep me stuck in a place that I didn't want to be. So I really needed something to make sense in my life. I needed some grounding, which ironically turned out to be, I was looking for a connection with my soul. I figured that was the only thing that I could say at this moment that I felt was good about myself. My soul, my spirit, whatever that was. Your soul is the basis for everything you are. It's the one that's connected. It's what's connected to the one. It's what connects us all together. Your experiences are the water and sometimes the fertilizer for the experiences that we have in life. But they're all necessary. And we just sort of get focused on the negative ones. And I don't get that either, because that's not me either. I'm really a positive person. But that means on a higher level then, we have access to God, to the Creator, to the universe, and all of this positive energy that is the soup that's just floating out there. But no, we stay down here and think about all those bad things that we've done, all those stupid mistakes we've made, how our life changed with that one bad mistake. But you know what? They weren't that bad. In the big scheme of things, they just weren't that bad. So without consideration for your age, your gender, your religious background, your shoe size, or any other arbitrary number or fact, who are you? It takes a while to figure that out, I think. Did I ever tell you a story about how we came up with this name for Center of Universal Light? Did I ever actually explain that? You know the name. Nobody's really explained why, and that's bad on me because I really need to let you know this. I suggested it, and Arvel jumped right all over it. Now, believe me when I say this, I'm not a scholar, but I have read a lot. I have been to a lot of churches. I've practiced a lot of different things. I was baptized in the Mormon church. I was baptized in the Mormon church when I needed structure and I needed rules. Ironically, I was still in the military, so apparently I needed even more structure and rules, other than, well, anyway. So, then I went to the Catholic Church because I needed more ritual. I needed something a little more mystical. Then I started going to the Self-Realization Fellowship because I needed a stronger connection to my source. And I didn't really feel like I was getting it at the other places. I was for a time. They served their purpose. And they serve everybody's purpose if they choose to follow that at some point. But the problem that I had was that these things already had rules and judgments that I hadn't made up. They weren't mine. So they label you a Mormon, or they label you a Christian or a Muslim, and then they assume that you follow all of these rules. So now you've got a label. So now when you identify yourself, what do you say? I'm a Muslim woman. Well, I'm not, but everything's got labels. So I didn't have control over what somebody else was creating a label about me for. Like the Hebrew and the Christian Bibles, the Quran, the Book of Mormon, Hindu, Buddhist, and Zoroastrian texts. And in many cases, the original meaning has been so screwed up by us that the truth is not really even recognizable by most accounts. And what's that truth? That truth is that universal light. Truth is love. There really isn't anything else but that. Everything else is just I don't know what you'd call it, just sort of something we make up. It's something that we put our own judgments and fears and confusion about. So life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself out of all of these different spiritual beliefs. And that's why I think a lot of you are here, because you maybe have already done those, you've already been to those churches, and they work for a time. All the different spiritual practices, maybe you meditated. I think meditation is something you can do your entire life. But maybe you did special breathing, and that worked for a period of time. But now we have to create our own life. Just create our own life. And so that you take that original message, that love message, which is, this is how I communicate it, because I'm an electronics technician. I'm a techie. And so I see things in waveforms. So I was trying to figure out how does this relate to spiritual practices and how we create ourselves? Well, universal truth is just a steady waveform. It is steady and true. It's called a carrier wave. It carries information. That's all you need to really know about the carrier wave. It never changes on its own. And then at some point, we start interjecting our own beliefs. And that input is what, I don't know, go ahead and change that, Wendy. The input is what we believe. This is what religious leaders have put in there, because they didn't like the way John the Baptist was talking about things, or they didn't like the way Muhammad was talking about things. So they started interjecting their own ideas, their own beliefs, their own prejudices, their own judgments, and creating something different, which is not, I'm not saying that any of that is good or bad, but I'm saying that the original messages get lost. And there's really, when they interject this input signal, which is your judgments and all that, they create something completely different. So now we've got this beautiful waveform, we've got we've got different ideas and judgments, and you finally have the result, which is a waveform that doesn't look anything like that. So where's the love in there? Where is the universal truth? It's no longer being perceived as steady and faithful and unwavering. And I think that's something that we've lost. We don't have that anymore because of all that medieval input that we got. And we believed. Our parents taught us, our teachers taught us, certainly our churches taught us. But I don't think they did it with bad intention. I think they did it based on the times, the perceptions of the time, the culture of the time, and the needs. We don't know exactly what made people interject that, I want to call it a modulating signal, which is what it is. It's a modulating frequency of input. So now you've got all this beautiful wave of love, which is universal light, and now it's it's nothing like it was originally intended for, my belief. So I'm not saying that they did anything wrong, but I'm saying that love is that carrier signal, that true and solid thing, that true and solid vibration, frequency that has always been here from the moment there was light. Remember, in the beginning there was light, trees, flowers, animals, eventually people came in. So this is why Center of Universal Light is a buffet. It's a buffet of beliefs. That's why we bring in a Sufi master. We bring in a non-yoga instructor, but a brilliant doctor as well. We bring in a Jewish rabbi. We bring in all kinds of people because we know that this truth, this love, is in all of those messages. It's just up to us to parse out that message, figure out what works for us, figure out what doesn't, and let that go. Let it work for us. Sandy told me this beautifully. That's why I'm pointing at Sandy. She said, it's kind of like a buffet. You take what you want, and you leave the rest. And so that's what we want you to have when you get here. We want you to see these choices, some messages that work brilliantly for you, but underneath, it's just love. So we might still bring in a Mormon bishop, a Muslim leader, a Hindu practitioner, a Gnostic leader, because we just believe there's truth in every single spiritual belief. That's why I'm saying I don't think there's anything right or wrong, true or false about any of them. I have used all of them for my purposes when I needed them. So the bottom line is, in this message, is that you are that center of universal light. You are that. This is what we see in you. We see you as that carrier waveform of love. Steady, true, and carrying the signal to everybody else. When you leave here, we want you to take that carrier signal with you, that true love, and pass that out to others. That universal light, so that you are the center of universal light and you shine that to everybody else. This is how we see you. This is how we saw CUL, when we first came here. So yes, it gets a little bit crazy with a lot of different input, but we love the input because we need that input. There's no other way to get this information except with the input, and it's carried along the carrier signal. That rabbi that we know that comes here, he is full of love. The Sufi teacher, full of love. They have different messages. But through it all is that solid love. So in those messages, we want you to find what your story is, what you are, who you are. Don't make me play that song again. I actually love that song a little bit. Because you don't discover your story. You basically evolve into it. What you tell yourself, what the teachers tell you, what all this input is telling you, is what you believe, and you take from that what you believe, and you create your own story, and that's what you become. So you want to be very careful about the input that you're getting and keeping. You don't want to just take everything in and believe what people say. And, oh Lordy, I even went to a real fundamental Christian church, and I just knew I was going to hell. I just knew it. So that took me a long time to get over that, because that made me feel really bad. I didn't like that. Because I was trying real hard then. I was really trying hard. So how do we create that story? How do we take that input, the messages that these people give us, how do we take that and create a life that we want? How do we do that? You rewrite your own story. First thing you got to do is let go of your fear. It's okay if you're afraid, do it anyway. I get stage fright to where I'll throw up before a show. I was nauseated this morning. I thought, oh good, maybe I'm getting the flu, I won't have to go. And I thought, no, scratch that, no, take it back. So you have to let go of your fear and do something totally out of your comfort zone. One thing I want to do is I want to go skydiving. I did the indoor one down in Eloy. That was okay, but it's not like there was any real concern that I was going to fall that 10 feet and get killed or anything. So there's part of the adventure, but I want to be able to do something like that is way out of my comfort zone. Talking up here is obviously way out of my comfort zone, as you can guess. No. Then next we keep an open mind. Keep an open mind when you come here. You don't know what you're going to get. We're like a box of chocolates. I'm back to the chocolate again. I'm seeing a theme. But we are literally like a box of chocolates. You just, if you know what that person's going to say every week, that doesn't really take you out of your comfort zone or help you to grow, if you're in that growing mode. I was LDS for quite a few years, and Mormon, and I wasn't looking at that stage. I was in a comfortable place, and I needed to be in that comfortable place. So sometimes we just get to a place where we are not willing to make changes, because right now I just need to be peaceful, calm, and I know what I'm getting. But then there's the rest of your life that you think, I got to find out what I am, what I'm about. What's my story? How do I write my story? How do I create the life that I want to get? It's never too late. What's that saying about the lady that wanted to go back to school and get her degree when she was 60-something years old? And she said, oh, but I'll be 65 by the time I get my degree. And her friend says, how old will you be if you didn't get your degree? So why not just do it? That's what because it's about the journey and it's not about the destination or that piece of paper. So just keep an open mind here. That was one of the big bases for this CUL, as opposed to being an affiliated religious organization. We wanted to stay independent. We wanted to be able to make our own rules, which is pretty much there are no rules, as you've seen. We like having that diversity, and what's our intention for this year for CUL? Diversity, unification, and openness. So let's keep that open mind, and you will never know what you're going to get here. Because sometimes we'll just fool you. Make you think it'll be something really conservative, and, well, never mind. So, next is practice makes perfect. Just do it over and over and over again. Take that new spiritual message. Take that new idea. Meditate every day. If you can't meditate every day, spend 3 minutes with yourself without the TV on, without the kids, without the grandkids, without the dogs barking. Spend 3 minutes with yourself. Start getting to know yourself and do this every day, and then build into a nice quiet time that you can spend. Because you can't define who you are on TV. You can't define who you are by somebody else's judgments, because they're not yours. You are enough. You are exactly what you came here to be. You're exactly who you are growing into. And I think we can all be a little bit happier doing this if we set it with a little more intention. If we set that intention to become that which we were meant to be. And then, keep it personal. You just want to keep it personal. You don't have to tell your husband, you don't have to tell your best friend. Just keep it to yourself. Whatever your new practice is, whatever the new you is, just let them figure it out. Because if you start saying, well, I'm going to go back to, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, they'll give you all these reasons why you shouldn't do that, or you can't do that. You're too old, you're too young, you're too busy, you're not busy enough, you're not in good enough health, whatever. People will never want to let you change. People like you the way you are, and that's not who you are. You are changing spiritual beings, and we see you as these waveforms, these beautiful, Arvel and I both, we're musicians, and so we see things in frequencies. So we want you to be that person that is carrying love. Carry it first to yourself, then to others. That connection is the source that sent you here. And remember that girl I told you about? That little girl? A free spirit that just wanted to play tennis the rest of her life? Well, that's me. I've written a different story. Because I found that spirit again. And how I did it was, I'm not playing tennis, but I am playing pickleball. Hey, it's close enough for right now, and it's cold outside. So I'm playing pickleball 2-3 times a week, thanks to a friend of mine, Bobby, who's not here right now. And I'm creating the full adventure that I had envisioned right here in Cottonwood. Thank you. I'm Kimberly Kelley. Most of the time these things make a lot more sense in my head than they do when they come out, but I hope you get that visual of the frequency.
It was wonderful.
Okay, and that input, I don't want people to get tripped up with that input. These beautiful words like Nanda, the daily word, the earth prayer, these are good inputs that help feed that love frequency. It just carries right along with it. It's the those people aren't good enough. Those people are wrong. We've got to do this and that. We've got to stand on our head for 50 minutes to prove our, whatever the hoops are. That is not helpful. So you listen to the truth, the unity word that Nanda speaks every day, every Sunday, and reads it every day. And you listen to the earth prayer, just like Perry gave. and you start feeling that love, and pretty soon, that crazy signal at the bottom will return back to that perfect love cycle.